We find ourselves in somewhat the same position as we did last Sunday, waiting for developments in the Manhattan case against former President Trump. Last weekend, he said he would be arrested this past Tuesday. He was not, at least not yet. Saturday, Mr. Trump put out a social media post and later told reporters that the case had been dropped. That's not true. A source within the DA's office tells us that grand jury proceedings are still ongoing. Our Robert Costa has been covering this story, and he joins us now. It's good to have you here, Bob. I know we're going to have a lot of details on the Manhattan case, but you've got new information about the federal case against the president and his allies. This is the one led by special counsel Jack Smith. It's a dual investigation. So let's start with the part regarding January 6th itself. What have you learned?
Good to be with you, Margaret. Based on our reporting, the special counsel is tightening his investigation around former President Trump when it comes to January 6th, now compelling some of his top aides and allies to testify under oath about their private conversations with Trump. That means there's no privilege, no executive privilege they can cite to try to block any kind of testimony on those issues. We know the special counsel is looking into a possible conspiracy case against Trump and people around him about trying to block the congressional proceedings on January 6th. We're going to potentially hear now from Mark Meadows, Robert O'Brien, the former national security advisor, John Ratcliffe, the former director of national intelligence. And sources who are close to the grand jury also tell CBS News that they're being asked, witnesses, about what kind of national security levers Trump was asking about in those final days.
That's significant.
Highly significant.
And on the classified documents, the documents the former president was not handling properly, there was also a key decision by a judge this week. What impact will it have?
It's so rare for a judge to say to a lawyer, you now have to testify about your client in a criminal case. Well, that happened in this classified records investigation of Trump being conducted by the special counsel. Two investigations at once. Evan Corcoran, Trump's lawyer in this case, now being told to come in, and he did come in for hours on Friday. And he didn't just talk about his broad view. He had to share audio files, notes, details about all of his conversations with Trump about how Trump handled those federal requests about classified documents. Think back to the Mar-a-Lago FBI search last summer. Corcoran was pressed about what was Trump doing at that intense time. And that really gives the prosecutors a prism into what really happened.
So all of these legal developments are coming up against the rush towards the presidential race. And, of course, former President Trump is running again. When he spoke last night in Waco, Texas, the former president didn't mention that Manhattan district attorney case, which was surprising to some because of the social media post that he had made showing himself with a baseball bat next to the DA's picture, warning of death and destruction if he is prosecuted. Does this kind of rhetoric impact at all how the party thinks of him? Is it helping him? Is it hurting him politically?
It depends on which part of the Republican Party you're asking the question to. Donors are alarmed. They see a possible indictment in New York. They see a possible obstruction case being mounted against Trump on the classified documents front. But when you look at his core supporters in the Republican Party, they are rallying to him in many respects, fueled by his grievances, these rallies. And Trump's allies tell CBS that he believes he's newly confident now that he can push back the threat of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and try to solidify his coalition inside the GOP at this early stage.
It's going to be a long race. Bob, thank you very much for laying all of this out.